Okay, so now from this video, we're going to talk about 2020 advanced level accounting paper number 1. Most of the students request me to do the entire paper, and they said that there are several areas that they wanted to clarify. And so then I thought of think about the requirements of the students, and I thought of doing a separate video to talk about 2020 A-level paper. This is the first part of the paper discussion. This is the first video, and after this video there will be another video and several other videos will discuss the entire paper. I don't think that within one video we'll be able to cover up the entire paper. So then there will be the several videos, and this will be the first part. So then when I do the other parts of it, I'll let you know that particular thing as well. Right? Okay. 2020 A-level paper. Yes, it's a bit of a different paper, right? I don't say that there's lots of differences, but there are some areas that examiner has the mainly focuses, right? And we can see we can identify some of the requirement of the examiner, because when it comes to the past papers, when you are doing a past paper, try to understand this thing. Past paper is the only way that your examiner directly contact you. I'm saying this thing always for you all, right? The paper, advanced level accounting paper, is the only paper that your examiner communicate with you. Teachers' guides, syllabus will be done by NIE. And the marking scheme will be prepared not for the students, but for the teachers or the markers. Therefore, this is the only way that examiner use as a tool to communicate to the students. Therefore, when you are doing a past paper, keep in mind there will be several messages given by the examiner for you. Examiner will give you several messages for you. Therefore, as a lecturer, as a student, when you are studying a past paper question, always try to understand not only the answer, why examiner has given this particular question for you. That is really important, right? And sometimes there will be lots of reasons of giving the same question, right? Therefore, rather than just getting the answer, rather than just getting the answer, just think why examiner has given this type of a question for you, right? That is also important. Again, alut questions keep ya. මේ paper එකේ අපි හිත මෙහෙට අරගෙන යන්න අපිට පොඩක් හිතන්න සලස්සන අපිට පොඩි indications දෙන questions කීපයක් මේ paper එකේ තියෙනවා. There will be lots of questions. So there will be several questions, several new questions that we can draw attention. So then I'll take them one by one and we'll discuss it. Right? Okay. We will move to the question number 1 of the paper. You know that your A-level paper, it's model paper 33. This is 33E1, and this is a 2-hour A-level paper, 2-hour paper. So then you have to answer all the 50 questions within 2 hours, which means 120 minutes. Okay. Per question you are given 2.4 minutes. Per question you are given 2.4 minutes. So then every question you should try to finish the question number. So within 2.4 minutes, right? Okay. With that idea, shall we move into the question number 1, what has been tested in the paper, right? As usual, your question in your accounting paper, mostly the first question will be asking about the main purpose of the accounting. Main purpose of the accounting, right? It's obviously very rational question, because rather than knowing anything, right, you should know first of all what is the main objective, right? Without knowing that, right, if you are in the positions of using if you are studying the other topics, it doesn't make any sense. Therefore, you should have a thorough idea and proper idea about what exactly the main purpose of the accounting. So this is a fair question to ask as the first question. If you go through most of the past paper question, first question has been tested from this particular area, right? So when you are answering this type of a question, you have to have some additional attention. Sometimes examiner asks what is the main objective of accounting. Sometimes the examiner asks what is the objective of financial accounting. Very rarely examiner asks what is the objective of management accounting. When examiner asks what is the objective of accounting, that includes a financial accounting, management accounting, both. Keep it in your mind. Samahara velawata examiner what is the main objective of financial accounting. So May question 2020 paper question examiner is asking about the financial accounting. Answer in your answer does no any management accounting component. There's no any management accounting component. Management accounting component consider may question because they're asking what is the main objective of the financial accounting, right? Keep that in your mind. You have to be very careful. Take all the past paper questions from 2012 to 2020 and see. Past paper questions every question, right? In every question, they have tested either main objective of accounting or the main objective of the financial accounting. Therefore, you have to be very careful when providing the answer, right? MCQ paper question answers that there is a rationale or a logic. There should be a logic behind each and every question. There should be a logic behind each and every answer actually, right? පළවෙනි answer එකට logic එකක් තියෙනවා. දෙවෙනි answer එකට logic එකක් තියෙනවා. තුන්වෙනි answer එකට logic එකක්. Examiner give you every options, every choices with a logic. Therefore, try to understand the logic behind this. මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙන logic එක තේරුම් ගන්න බලන්න. Try to understand the logic behind this. මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙන logic එක තේරුම් ගන්න බලන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ හැම answer එකකම දාන්න හේතුවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ හේතුව තෝරගන්න එකෙන් අපිට වැඩිපුර knowledge එකක් add වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා හැම MCQ එකක්ම මම කියන්නේ A level paper එකට ගිහිල්ලා paper එක ලියද්දි මේකේ logic එක හිතට ඉන්න එපා. හැබැයි when you are practicing the question, right, just before the exam, just try to identify the logic behind each and every option, right? I examiner make answer එක දාලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට I ඔයාලට refuse කරන්න කියලා what a justification එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. හරි. එහෙනම් what is the we'll read the question. What is the main purpose of the financial accounting of a firm? What is the main objective of the financial accounting of a firm? Recording and reporting of the transactions in compliance with the legal requirement. No. The recording and reporting is one of some of the functions in accounting, especially in the financial accounting, right? Those are functions in accounting, and that is not the main objective in accounting, right? Second one, preparations of general purpose financial statement in compliance with accounting standards. Yes. Main output of the financial accounting is a general purpose financial statement. It's true. But the main purpose you can't say to prepare the financial statement in compliance with the accounting standards. No. Accounting has a wider scope, right? The expectation of the accounting is much more higher than this, right? Next one, provisions of information for the annual external audit through the financial statement. Audit is the separate function that is performed by an external auditor before communicate the financial statement for the stakeholders. Usually in a company, before delivering the financial statement for the shareholders, the audit report has to be taken because it ensures the accuracy of the financial statement. That you can't say that is something external, right? To ensure the accuracy of the financial statement, you are getting audit report on it, right? Therefore, you can't say you prepare the accounts only to for the purpose of audit, right? Therefore, the third one also you can simply reject. Fourth one, provisions of information for decision making of the stakeholders. Yes, it sounds correct. It sounds good because the main object of the accounting is to provide the information to the stakeholders in taking the decision. It sounds like correct. Last one, provisions of financial information for the decision making for the managers. Financial account. Look at this. පළවෙනි තුනම අපිට කෙලින්ම අයින් කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි අන්තිම දෙක බැලුවොත් මේ දෙකෙන්ම කතා කරන්නේ provisions of information. Provisions of financial information. Yes, accounting provide only the financial information, is true. හැබැයි අන්තිමට මේක narrow කරනවා. මොකක්ද දෙයක් කියනවා for the decision making of the managers. So managers ට decisions ගන්න නෙමෙයි. Mainly අපි financial accounting information provide කරන්නේ. We mainly focuses for the external stakeholders. Therefore, financial accounting provide information for the external stakeholders and the internal stakeholders both, but financial accounting more focuses on the external stakeholders. Therefore, you can remove the answer number 5 as well. So then what will be the correct answer? Correct answer will be the fourth one, right? Provisions of information for the decision making of the stakeholders. Question number 1 in 2021 paper, for the question number 1, your correct answer will be answer number 4. Financial accounting's main objective is to provide the information for the decision making of the stakeholders, right? Okay, answer number 2. Question number 2, right? Use the following information to answer question number 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? What is the first one? Nuan opened a stationery shop on 1st Jan 2020, and his brother Sujit is a sole employee of this business. The following transaction took place. There's one owner and the one employee. And this is a just started business, and it is a trading business. It's a trading business where you have the sales and the purchases, where you deal with the stocks and all, right? The best thing when you are reading a question, try to underline all what is important. Get a highlighter or a red pen or whatever. Underline all what is important by the time you are providing the answer. Right? It gives you the massive knowledge or an information about the paper. The mama may question එක කරනවා නම් මම මේ 2020 level paper එක ලියන student කෙනෙක් නම් මම පෑනක් අරගෙන underline කරගන්නවා මෙන්න මේ වචන ටික open කියන වචනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ we have no opening balances. This is they are giving the first few transactions of the business. ඊළඟට trading කියන වචනේ මම underline කරනවා. Trading කියන වචනේ. This is a trading business, a service business. Trading business. His brother is the sole employee of the business. Following transaction took place during the month. That also underlined. They are giving these transactions for a month, not for a week, not for a year, not for a quarter, but for a month. Those 3 keywords has to be there in your mind by the time you are doing this question. This is a just started business. This is a trading business, and they are giving these information for a month. Okay. With that idea, we will read the transaction. Transaction number 1. Invested cash by Nuan to commence the business 300,000. Initial capital investment. Okay. Then purchase stationery on credit 200,000. You purchase a stationery, on cash. There was a cash transaction. And on Palavini again, there was a cash receipts. From the second transaction, there was a purchase of stationery. There was a cash payment. Third one, purchase stationery is on credit. Stationery business. This is a stationery trading business. Therefore, stationery you buy to resell. Therefore, all these are what? Purchases. Keep it in your mind. For a garment factory, if you purchase a stationery, that you can't consider as a what? Inventory. But this is a stationery trading business. Or sell karanne, buy karanne, sell karanne, stationery. And a stationery when you purchase, that is your normal purchases. Fourth one, return part of the stationery purchase on credit. There was a purchases return. And sold stationery on credit, which inclusive at 64,000, right? And VAT amount, VAT percentage, VAT portion is 64,000. Total amount that you are going to collect from the debtor 864,000. How much is your income? Rupees 800,000. VAT payable is 64,000. VAT on sales is an asset or a liability. It's a liability. VAT on sales is a liability, right? Paid salary to Sujit, that is rupees 40,000, right? Salary payment rupees 40,000. Okay. What was the first requirement? The cost of the stationery sold 500,000. Sell karapu stationery will cost 500,000. Electricity charges payable to the business 30,000. Assume there's no any VAT on the purchases and the expenses. They are not giving you the input VAT. They are giving you only the output VAT. VAT on purchases, if it is available, VAT on purchases, VAT on expenses, if you can claim, those are VAT receivable. Those are assets, right? You are required to identify the source document for the transaction number 235. Okay, we will move into the transaction number 235. Transaction number 2. They want you to identify the source document. So the purchase of stationery on cash. Purchase of stationery on cash. There was a cash payment. And what is the source document? For all the cash payment, your source document will be the payment voucher. Irrespective of the nature of the payment, right? For any cash payment, you have to use a source document payment voucher. Next one, purchase stationeries on credit. When you purchase the stationeries on credit, what is the source document? That is invoice. Invoice. Credit purchases, source document is the invoice. And they want you to identify the transaction. Transaction number 4. Source document will be return a part of the stationery purchase. So that when you purchase a stationery, you are crediting to the creditor's account. When you are returning them, you are debiting to the creditor's account. So then when there was a purchases return, source document will be the debit note, and at last, they want you to identify the source document for the transaction number 5, which is credit sales. Source document will be invoice. If it is credit sales, you want to receive the cash by the time you make the sale, so then you have to raise the invoice. Source document is an invoice. So then what were the source document? Purchase payment voucher, invoice, debit note, and again the invoice, right? Invoice. Okay, then shall we look at the answer? The answer, Sudha, you can see what were the options that they have given. The first option, invoice, no, right? The first of all, what was there? There was a cash purchase. For the cash purchases supposed to be recorded in the payment journal. So the source document has to be purchase payment voucher, right? The source document supposed to be the payment voucher. Therefore, the first one you can simply reject without reading the other choices. Again, they say the invoices, no. Third one, payment voucher, invoice, debit note, and the invoice. Yes, it sounds correct. First of all, there was a cash purchases. So then source document is a payment voucher. Then there was a credit purchases. Source document is an invoice. And then there was a purchases return. Whatever the purchases you are returning to the supplier, you are debiting to the supplier's account. And to inform to the supplier, the document that you raise is the debit note. So yes, the debit note is a source document for the purchases return. And on the 5th transaction, you do the credit sales. So then the source document is the invoice. So then the 4th one, they are saying payment voucher, invoice, and the credit note. Credit note is the source document for the sales return, but not for the purchases return. Payment voucher, invoice, credit note, and the journal voucher note. So then accordingly, what will be the correct answer? Correct answer will be the third one is the correct answer. Third one is the correct answer. When examiner gives you this type of a question, you have to be very careful. Sometimes the examiner is asking this question from the seller's point of view. Sometimes the examiner would ask this question from the buyer's point of view. Mekenan apita sales purchases dealer dina nisa apita andura ganna puluwan. So then they are giving the all information with regard to specific business. Habai samahara velawata examiner giving the information from someone's point of view, but asking the question from someone's point of view. For an example, examiner would give the information from the seller's point of view. We made a sales. A made a sales to B. A has collected the money from B. Right? Likewise, they can give the information from the A's point of view, but they are asking the question from the B's point of view. You have to be very careful, right? When you are providing the answer for this type of question. Give the equal weightage for every question. Don't think this is an easy question, this is a difficult question. No. Right? Every question is a question for you. Hamma question ekakma independently consider karanga. Right? Okay. The next requirement of the question is, what is the accounting equation that reflect the net effect of the transaction number 1, 2, 3, and 4? What is the accounting equation that reflect the net effect of the transaction number 1, 2, 3, and 4? Right? What were the options they have given? Right? Answer number 1, 800 increases, but total assets, liability increases by 550, equity increases by 250. Second option, assets increase by 800, liability increase by 500, equity increase by 300. Third one also they have given. Fourth one, fifth one also we have given. Right. We will move into the calculation and see how we get the one of these answers, how we get the one of these. We are moving into the answer, Puta, right? We'll see how we're gonna just identify the effect on the accounting equation. The first transaction, owner invested the capital 300,000. Puta, when owner invested the capital, what is the basic accounting equation? Assets equal equity plus liability. Assets increased by 300,000. Liabilities increased by rupees 300,000, right? Assets increased by rupees 300,000 and the liability increased by rupees 300,000, right? The transaction number 2 was purchase stationeries on cash. Puta, when you purchase the stationeries on cash, right, your cash balance is 200,000, cash balance decreases. On the other side, what? Your stationery balance increases 200,000, which is inventory. Both are assets. Ultimately, this has no impact on the accounting equation. Therefore, transaction number 2 has no impact on accounting equation. It increases one asset and it decreases another assets. Right. Transaction number 3, what does it say? Purchase stationeries on credit 550. When you purchase a stationeries on 550, stationery is the stocks of this business. Therefore, their stock balance increased by 550 and the liability increased by 550. That increases both assets and the liability. Transaction number 4, they're asking the effect of the transaction number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Transaction number 4 is return to the supplier rupees 50,000. When you are returning to the supplier, assets decrease by 50,000, liability decrease by rupees 50,000. Your total asset is 800,000, equity balance is 300,000, and your liability balance is rupees 500,000. Your liability balance is rupees 500,000. Was that clear for you? Right. So then, which one is the correct answer? Accordingly, which one is the correct answer for you? It has to be what? Transaction number, answer number 2. So your assets increases due to both of these 3 transactions. Assets increases by 800,000, liabilities increase by 500,000, equity increase by 300,000. So that is the correct answer for this. Question definitely you have to have a working. You should have a working, right? May working just try to identify the effect. Okay, they only transaction ignore karla දාන්න පුළුවන් කෙලින්මනේ. තේරුණාද? ignore කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක transaction එක ලියන්න යන්න එපා equation එකේ. Just okay. When you purchase assets on cash basis, okay, there's no impact on the equation, right? There's no impact on the equation. Therefore, I'm not going to consider because you are always you have the competition, right? In the accounting paper, you have the competition. Not with another student, you have the competition with the time, right? You compete with the time, right? Okay, main competitor, especially in the MCQ paper, time. Therefore, you have to compete with the time. And don't do unnecessary stuff. සමහර වෙලාවට මේ question එකට equitable accounting equitable effect එක අහනවා. In that situation, don't try to identify the impact of the entire elements of the equation. Then you identified only the impact on equity, right? What is the next requirement of the question, Puta? 4, what they're asking? If business maintain a debtors control account, if business maintain the debtors control account, what is the double entry to record the transaction number 5, right? Transaction number 5, if you read the question, what does the transaction number 5 says? Sold the stocks on credit. This includes 64,000 value-added tax, right? That and the total amount that you are about to collect from the debtor 864. Total amount that you are about to collect from the debtor 864. Out of this 864, ඔයා debtor ගෙන් 864 ගන්නවා. හැබැයි ඔක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා VAT එක 64. ඒක ඔයාට අයිති දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. That is not something owned by yourself, right? Your income then is only 800,000, right? And now what has to be the double entry? Trade receivable control account debit 864. The total amount you collect from the debtor. That inclusive price you collect from the debtor. Even though you collect 864, your income is only 800. Your income is only 800. Balance is a VAT payable that will be recorded under liability, right? You know what will be the correct answer for this? First one, debtors control account debit 800. Puta, can you debit debtors control account 800? Can you debit 800,000 to the debtors control account? No, why? Because you need to collect the entire 64. 864 entire amount you need to collect. You are collecting with the VAT portion. collect on behalf of the government, you are collecting that from the customer. So then you have to collect from the customer 864. Therefore, it's not correct. Recognizing 800,000 as a sales income, yes, it's fine, but that is not correct. Second one, debtors control account debit 864, exactly correct. Yes, you recognize the VAT inclusive amount. Sales account credit 864, no. VAT on sales is a liability. VAT on sales is a liability. It is a payable to the Inland Revenue Department. VAT, what you collected on your sales, if you are a VAT registered person, you are entitled to collect the VAT, but that should not be recognized as an income. It has to be remitted to the Inland Revenue Department. Therefore, VAT on sales is a liability that you cannot recognize as an income. Therefore, the second one also correct. Third one, debtors control account debit 800, no. The 64 is not a VAT expense, no. Sales account credit 864, it's completely wrong. Everything is wrong in here, right? Debtors control account debit 864, it sounds correct. Okay, the total amount, that inclusive amount you are about to collect from the debit is fine. Sales account credit 800, that is also fine. You are recognizing the VAT exclusive amount, right? The balance 64, yes, you credited to the VAT control account or VAT payable account, right? So then fourth one sounds correct. Look at the fifth one. Sorry, debtors control account debit 800, no. We can very simply say it's not correct. Sales account, no, right? Which one is the correct answer then? Which one is the correct answer? Fourth one is the correct answer. Fourth one is the correct answer for the question number 4. You can have a note if you need. Sales account, when you recognize the sales account, you should not recognize the VAT portion. You should recognize the VAT exclusive price. But when you recognize the debtor balance, you should recognize what VAT inclusive amount. You should recognize the VAT inclusive amount. So which one is the correct answer? Fourth one is the correct answer. Fourth one, right? Hari. Okay. So that's the question number 2, 3, and 4. All three were given. All three were given from the common information, right? From the common information. So then we have done the first 4 questions in the 2020 A-level accounting paper. Then we will move to the next question, right? Question number 5 also has been tested from the same. What is the profit and the net profit? That means they're asking the gross profit and the net profit of the business from the given transactions. Okay, they're giving you as options gross profit 300 and the net profit 230, gross profit 300 and the net profit 260, gross profit 300 and the net profit 240, gross profit 364 and the net profit 294, and the gross profit 364 and the net profit 324. Okay, we'll see what's the answer. We will move into the calculation. Puta. Right. Puta. Now, when you calculate the gross profit, first of all, you need to get the sales and the cost of sales. Gross profit is the difference between sales and the cost of sales. Gross profit is a profit that you generated from the trading activity. So then when you are taking the sales of this business, Puta, you can see, right, there was a sales of rupees 864. Right here, they have recorded 864. Out of the 864, 64,000 is not your income. That is your VAT portion. The 64,000 is your VAT portion. VAT is a liability which needs to be remitted to the Inland Revenue Department, right? This cannot be recognized as an income. Your sales income is rupees 800,000. Your sales income is rupees 800,000. Got it? Right. Then they say cost was not given. In that question, you can see the cost has not been given. The cost of the stationery sold. During the month, there was only one sales. Cost of the sales you made 500. How much has to be the cost of sales? 800 minus 500. So how much is the gross profit? 800 of sales income minus 500 cost of sales. It's 300,000. It's 300,000. Gross profit is 300,000. Then thereafter, they want you to calculate the net profit. What is the formula in calculating the net profit? Gross profit plus other income minus non-production overheads. Non-production overheads. In this question, there's no any what? Other income. right? There's no any other income, right? If you go through the question, there's no any other income. You can find out few expenses. Put our first transaction number 1, generate no expense. Transaction number 2, generate no expense because it's acquisition of an asset. The stationery will be an expense by the time you sell it. Stationery expense එක වෙන්නේ sale කරාට පස්සේ. Purchase කරද්දී ඒක expense එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Machine concepts. Third one also based on that knowledge, you can say third one also is not an expense, right? Fourth one also the same, right? Purchases return, even though you return the purchases, right? There's a decrease in assets, no harm to the profit. There was a payment of salary 40. That's a salary. Make a Sujit brother he's external person. You apply the separate entity concepts here, right? Own is a separate person, other person is a separate person, business is a separate person. Business paid to someone as a salary. So then which is a salary? So business එකේ profit එක බෙදා ගන්න කෙනාට විතරයි ඕන කියලා කියන්නේ. එතකොට අපි සුජිත්ගේ brother Sujit is a brother, right? Nuwan is the owner, right? එතකොට අපි සුජිත්ට ගෙවන salary එක අපි consider කරන්නේ නැහැ drawings එකට. හේතුව Sujit is a separate person. Sujit is not entitled for the profit of the business. Therefore, Sujit will not be identified as a owner of the company, right? On sole owner of the business, no one. Got it? And Sujit is external person, so that you need to recognize as an expenditure. That 40 you recognize as an expenditure. Then, in addition to that 40, you can see that there was an electricity charges of 3,000 which is not paid. Electricity bill payable rupees 30,000, right? You can see under the additional information there was electricity bill payable rupees 30,000. That is also a payable amount, right? Which is also an expenditure. Therefore, all together total expenditure during the month that you incur, salary, Sujit's salary 40,000 and electricity bill charges 30,000. Accrued amount, but you recognize accrual concept you need to apply here. Altogether, the total expenditure is 70,000, right? Based on that knowledge, when you look at the question, right? Total expenses here 70,000. How did you get the 70? Salary 40,000 and accrued expenses you recognize electricity charges 30, or the total expenditure 70. Gross profit was 300, no other income. Total expenses are 70. Then the net profit is 230. Net profit is rupees 230. Right. What will be the correct answer for the question number 5? Gross profit 300. 800 minus 500. 800 is the sales. 500 is the cost of sales. Right? Cost of sales. The net profit is 230. Net profit was 230. How did you get that? Your gross profit was 500,000, right? Your gross profit was 300,000. From that 300,000, you subtract the expenses of 70. Then your net profit was rupees 230. So then which one was the correct answer? Answer number 1 is the correct answer for the question number 5. Right, okay. With that knowledge, we will move into the question number 6. So you can see the question number 6 and 7. For the question number 6 and 7 also, they have given some common information, right? A business carried out its cash transactions through the bank account. That is a normal assumption you do in your syllabus, right? All the cash transactions you do in your bank account, you do through your bank account. There's no difference in the closing cash balance and the bank balance of the month of February 2020. At the end of February month, cash control balance exactly equal to the bank statement balance. However, the cash balance of 500,000 as at 31st March 2020 did not agree with the bank statement on the same day. Month March the cash control account balance and the bank statement balance are agreed to each other. But at the end of the month, it is not equal. The bank statement of the month of March received on 3rd April. Okay, the following were revealed when it was examined. Right, first up, a check of 100,000 deposited on 29th March 2020 has not been realized. Check of 100,000 deposited on 29th March 2019 2020 has not been realized. This is an unrealized checks. You classified under timing differences, right? Unrealized checks. Next one, the loan installment for the month of March, standing order payment of 30,000, which includes an interest expense of 12,000. So that this has to be 30,000. Loan installment has to be 30,000, right? The total payment 30,000. That includes the interest of 12,000. This was paid as a standing order payment, but you identified this after receiving the bank statement on 3rd April. Therefore, you need to assume this has been omitted from books of accounts. The examiner should say actually this has been omitted from the books of accounts, right? All right. The following were revealed when it was examined. You received the bank statement on 3rd April. On 3rd April, you received the bank statement. And when you review it, again, after 4th April, when you review it, you realize there was a loan installment payment has not been accounted. It is pretty obvious that it has been what? Omitted from your books of account. This is obviously an omission. Next one, transaction number 3. A check of 80,000 deposited in the bank on 30th March 2020 has been dishonored on 31st March 2020. So the deposit karbu check ekak dishonor vela tiyenawa. The value is rupees 80,000. That also you identified after receiving the bank and deposited check has been dishonored. That also an omission that you need to adjust in your books of accounts. The investments income 12,000 credited directly to your bank account. That also has not been accounted in your books of account. That also has been omitted. Next on, direct remittance standing order payments, the dishonored checks are recorded in the books only after receiving the bank statement. Above item A and C, denote the checks received from the 2 debtors of the business to settle the outstanding balance. May checks to settle the debtor balance, right? Check number A and C, that is 100,000 and 80,000, right? Check sambu on examine complex examine gives all the information for you, right? Then check sambu maybe rent income, maybe disposal of another assets, right? Maybe dividend income, maybe interest income, whatever, right? You for any reason you will receive the checks. When you are recording this, you should know exactly from whom you have received the checks. That is what the examiner say here. These 2 checks you have received from the debtors. Very clearly it says, right? Then it says, outstanding debtor balance settle karanna. Recovery of bad debt same right? To settle the outstanding debtor balance. The debtor to settle the outstanding balance, or sometimes you will receive them as a what? Recovery of bad debts. The examiner very clearly says this is not a recovery of bad debts as a. Okay. Each and every word given in the paper is important. Right? Then it says revised cash balance and the bank balance as at 31st March 2020. You wanted to calculate the revised cash balance and the bank statement balance. To calculate the revised cash balance, we will have to prepare the amended cash control account. And if you want to calculate the bank statement balance, for that purpose, you have to prepare the bank reconciliation statement. Because you prepare the bank reconciliation, from that you can find the bank statement balance. Okay. They have given few answers. Want you to find the correct answer. Prepare the amended cash control account, right? When you prepare the amended cash control account, you can see they have given the opening balance of the cash control account 500,000 that you have brought forward in the amended cash control. Can I make it amended cash control account? Right, opening cash balance rupees 500,000, and there was the repayment of loan 30, but that 30 includes a capital portion 800, installment includes capital portion 800, interest portion 18,000, interest portion 12,000. Both of those two we have recorded separately. 18,000 goes to the loan account, 12,000 goes to the interest account, and the checks that is received from a debtor and the deposit in the bank got dishonored. Enough of that dishonored checks rupees 80,000. That has been what? Credited to the control account because that amount of money you want received. right? That 80,000 you want to receive, so then you credited that to the amended debtors control account. And there was the interest income of rupees 120, investment income 120, which was not recorded. Therefore, that also need to be debited to the cash control account, right? And the correct cash control account balance was how much? Rupees 510,000. Cash control account balance rupees 510,000. Amended cash control account balance 510,000. Okay, there are two answers. Make it උත්තර ලියන්න. දැන් අපි බලන්න සමහරවිට exam එක දෙනවා isolated separate answers. Those are not identical answers. මෙතන හැබැයි identical answers දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ amended cash control account එක calculate කරලා මදි. You have to go for what? කියන්නේ the bank reconciliation. Also you need to prepare to get the bank statement balance. If there was no any identical answer, by doing one calculation you can find the answer. You can find the answer. Hari then make අපිට no option. අපි දන්නවා දැන් එක්ක උත්තරේ second one or the third one. Then we will move to the next thing as well, which is preparations of the bank reconciliation statement, which is the preparation of the bank reconciliation statement. Right. So when you are taking the bank statement balance, obviously you'll have to prepare the bank reconciliation statement, right? If you take the amended cash control account balance, it's 510,000. We found it. There was no any unpresented checks. If you read the question very clearly, you can identify there was no any unpresented checks, but there was unrealized checks, right? There was unrealized. You can see here transaction number A, checks of 100,000 deposited 29 but not yet realized, which is unrealized checks. This unrealized checks supposed to be what? This unrealized checks supposed to be deducted from the bank statement balance because the checks has been deposited. If it is deposited, cash control account balance is comparatively higher. If the comparatively cash control account balance, if it is comparatively higher, it's supposed to be deducted for the purpose of getting the bank statement balance. And about the bank statement balance, we calculated as 410,000. 410,000. So then what will be the answer? Yes, very clearly you can identify second one is a correct answer. Second one is a correct answer for the question number 6, right? Question number 7, what they are asking. In question number 7, what they are asking, that is also connected with this. What is the net effect of item A, B, C, and D on the profit for the month of March and the debtors control account balance as at 31st March? What is the net effect of the item A, B, C, and D on the profit? Profit impact from the transaction number A, B, C, and D, right? Okay. Now, if you move into the transactions, what are the transactions that they have given with regard to the A? When it comes to the transaction number A, there's no any impact to the. When it comes to the B, right, your profit decreased by 12,000. When it comes to transaction number B, your profit decreased by 12,000, which is the interest. And dishonored checks has no impact, but the investment income increases by how much? Your profit increased by 120,000. Therefore, altogether, your total profit increased by 108,000. Altogether, your total profit increased by 108,000. If you look at the answers here, your net profit increased by 108,000. Still, there are two calculations. So, still, there are two answers with regard to the increase in the net profit. Net profit 108. You receive the other income of 120. You receive another income of 120. On the other side, the bank charges of interest charge of 12,000 has been recorded. All of the profit increased by 108,000. And increase or decrease in the debtors control account balance, right? How do you calculate that thing with our debtors control account? To identify the impact on the debtor balance with the transaction number the transaction number A and the transaction number C, both are affected to what? Debtors. Both are affected to debtors. But transaction number A is what? Checks deposited, not realized. If you have received a check from the debtor and if you deposited it in the bank, what will happen? It will be reduced from the debtor balance, and ultimately, even if it is not realized, that doesn't affect it to the business books of account because it is from the bank point of view. Like a bank prashna. Like a bank realize it has not been realized in the bank, right? If we deposit karala, bank will take realize ඒක අපේ account එක adjust කරන්න ඕන දෙයක් නෙවෙයි. It's a timing difference. So when the time comes, so then it will be recorded in the bank statement. හැබැයි adjustment number C, you deposited a check received from a debtor, but subsequently it got dishonored. තේරුණාද? දැන් මේ දෙක දෙකක්. අරක timing difference එක. Timing differences are not affected to the business books of accounts, but the transaction, the treats are omission. Dishonored checks has not been accounted. පුතා dishonored check එක record වෙනකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? එක පැත්තකින් bank account එකේ balance එක අඩු වෙනවා. From the other side, debtor balance will increases. From the other side, what will happen? පුතා debtor balance will increases. And if you go to the answer, you can see there were two answers which gives the correct impact on profit. That is the third one and the fourth one. හැබැයි third one it says decrease in the debtor balance by 20,000. හැබැයි fourth one it says increase in the debtor balance of by how much? 80. But when you are recording these dishonored checks of 80, when you are recording these dishonored checks of 80, your debtor balance will increase. What is the double entry with the dishonored checks? Debtors control account, debit, cash control credit. When you are taking this into accounts, when you are taking that omissions into account, your debtor balance increased by 80. So then what will be the correct answer? Your correct answer will be the fourth one. So then answer for the question number 7 is the fourth one. Answer for the question number 7 is the fourth one. Was it clear for you? Right. When we did that question, right, the question number 6 and the question number 7 even, you have identified, we have done the calculations. We prepared the amended cash control account, we prepared the bank reconciliation statement, we did the several calculations. But keep in mind, even though we show you the calculations, you are not expected to do all these calculations to get the answer. You have the calculator with you, and if you know how to do the calculations, right, use the calculator and do the calculation. No need of preparing the ledger account, no need of preparing the statements. ඒවට වෙලාව නාස්ති කරන්න එපා. තේරුණාද? අවශ්‍ය නම් විතරක් working එකක් කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් use the calculators and try to find the correct answer directly rather than spending the time. Right? Okay. Right, with that knowledge, if you move into the question number 8, right, which of the following statement දැන් බලන්න අපේ ලොකු වෙලාවක් ගත්ත questions කීපයක් අපි පහු කරා. Question number 2 3 4 5 එක දිගට question 4ක් දුන්නා scenario base. Then ඊළඟට there was another question, right, and they have given the common information and they have given you 2 questions, right. අපි මේ දෙකකට අපි උත්තර ලියුවා. දැන් පොඩක් ලේසි જાතිය question එකක් ඉක්මනට උත්තර ලියන්න පුළුවන් question එකක් අපිට දීලා තියෙනවා. Which of the following statements are correct in relation to the applications of the accounting concepts? They want you to identify the correct statement. First one, basis for the recognitions of the debtors and the creditors are provided with the accrual concepts. Obviously, yes, we know that this particular question has tested many times in the very recent papers. So the debtors and the creditors you recognize due to the accrual concepts, answer is true. The basis for measurements of inventory at lower of cost and net realizable value is provided by the matching concepts. So the closing stock you adjust due to the matching concepts, that is true. හැබැයි inventories are recorded at lower of cost and net realizable value, that is due to the prudence concepts. Therefore, you need to say this is a prudence concepts, not the matching concepts. Inventories are recorded in the books of account due to the matching concepts. Transaction number 3. The basis for the classifications of the assets and the liabilities as current and non-current in the statement of financial position is done due to the going concern concepts. Yes, obviously true. A is correct, C is also correct, but not B. So then the correct answer will be, if you go through all 5 answers, fourth one will be the correct answer. A and C. So the debtors are recognized and the creditors are recognized due to the accrual concepts. Assets and the liabilities are classified as current and non-current due to the going concern concepts. Inventories are recorded at the lower of cost and net realizable value due to the prudence concepts, not because of the matching concepts. Okay, right. Go to the next question, question number 9. Which of the following accounting concepts reflect the applications of the substance over form concepts, right? Which of the following accounting concepts or the statements reflect the applications of the substance over form concepts, right? It's a really good question. We'll see, right? We'll look at the first one. Recognitions of income tax payable by entity as liability. Obviously, income tax payable by substance and even in form, it is a liability, right? It is a liability. There's no difference between the substance as in the forms, right? Legally, අපි මේක ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. Substance එකෙත් අපි මේක ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. Right? Neither. There's a legal obligation. ඒ කියන්නේ by form, it is a liability. And even in the substance, the liability, definitely there's a resource outflow. Obviously, yes. Right? So then the A you should not recognize as a liability due to the substance or form. So therefore, the A is not correct. If you look at the B, recognitions of the right of use assets as an assets in the financial statements of the lessee, that you will do due to what concepts? Due to the substance or form concept. So the right of use assets, right of use assets, right of use assets, apita asset ekak නෙමෙයි. By form, right? Legally, we do not have the ownership, but by substance, yes, it is ours. By substance, it is ours, right? We are getting the right of use the assets. We are getting the right of use of the assets, right? Even though you don't have the legal ownership, you use that as your assets. Therefore, the assets you obtain on lease basis, you recognize as your assets due to the substance or form concepts. Yes, it sounds correct. C, recognitions of the constructive obligations of an entity at its liability. Uda, there are two types of obligation, constructive obligations and the legal obligations, right? When it's come to the constructive obligation, that will create due to the behavior of the organization. That means even though you don't have the legal obligation, right? Legally, the obligation, but by practice, but by substance, there is an obligation. There is an obligation. Your past practice, right? Your published policies, sufficient current statements make a present obligation. Look at LKS 37, right? Legal obligation, even though you do not have the legal obligation, right? That means form, by form, there's no new obligation, but by substance, you can create an obligation. You can create an obligation. Legal obligation here you can see this is a good question. This has been tested very first time in the A-level paper. Make a definitely this can be tested in your paper. Most probably, not definitely, most probably this can be tested in your paper. Watch it, right? Papers 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 papers recognitions of the constructive obligations of an entity is a liability. Yes, that also you do due to the substance of form concepts. Then you can see the correct answer will be which one? B is given, C is given. So then the fourth one is the correct answer. Fourth one is the correct answer. Right. Question number 10 in this paper, right? So the question number 10 is also really important question. What is a favorite question in this paper? Without having any hesitations, I can say this is one of those, right? One of the favorite question in this 2020 paper, right? This gives you a comprehensive idea about the recognitions of the income and the expenses. Most of you all know how to recognize the comprehensive income, how to calculate the gross profit, how to calculate the net profit, how to calculate the other comprehensive income. Everything you know, but you don't know how to calculate the income and the expenses. I have seen most of the even the teachers do these mistakes, right? How to recognize the income and the expenses. But from this video and from this particular paper, you examiner comprehensively clear out all the doubts, most of the doubts with regard to the income and the expenses recognitions. I believe this is a knowledge enhancing question. This question has been given by the examiner for you to study, for us to teach. Students la vidiyata igena ganna. Apita teachers la vidiyata uganna tamai examiner me question එක දීලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් මෙතනින් එහාට මේ පේපර් එක මේ 2020 පේපර් එක කරන කට්ටිය වැඩි අවබෝධයක් දාන්න මේ question එකට, වැඩි attention එකක් මේ question එකට දාන්න. Try to understand this particular question fully 100% because hopefully this will be tested in your paper as well, right? Okay, we will see what is the question, right? Nimal Traders commence its operations on 1st April 2020. The following information is provided. This is a just commence business. This is a just commence business, and they are giving the information for the month of March, month of April, right? Total of the prime entry books they have given: sales 220, purchases 200, sales return 20, purchases return 10, Cost of sales 110. Other operating expenses, excluding discount, they have given trade discount received, trade discount allowed, they have given cash discount received, cash discounts allowed, they have given. They want you to identify what total income and the total expenses. These are the options. Total income and the total expenses. Right. Calculations for the sales. You can recognize as an income. Sales journal 220. Purchases journal 200. So that this purchase of stocks, do we recognize as an expenditure? No, right? You know, you should know the difference between the cost and the expense. Purchases is something that you bought. එතකොට අපි purchase කරන හැම එකම expense එක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Out of the cost amount that you used, only expense. එතකොට අපි purchases කරාම purchase cost එකෙන් විකුණන ටික තමයි expense එක වෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ cost of sales. Cost of sales. The balance amount, unused amount, you recognize as an assets. Out of the purchases you made, the amount what you sold, which is called cost of sales, that is an expenditure. Unsold amount, which is closing stock, it is an assets. Closing stock is an assets. Got it? Right. Matching concepts. Purchases අපිට expense එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Purchases will not be an expense. හැබැයි sales return එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන කීයද පුතා? 20 sales return. But again, the sales return, income or an expense. Income, it will be reduced from the income. Don't recognize that as an expense, right? Can you remember in the classifications of the examiner මේ වෙනකන් දුන්න හැම ප්‍රශ්නයක්ම මේ වෙනකන් 2020 paper එකට කලින් calculations test කරේ නැහැ. දැන් අහුවා sales return is what account? You say income account. Purchase return is what account? You say it's an expense account. Okay, now examiner has see the practical applications of that particular thing, right? Okay, that is 20. So then that 20 you need to reduce from the income. Even though you reduce it from the income, you don't recognize that as an expense. But the purchases return, you don't want to consider. Why? Because the examiner has given the cost of sales. Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock minus purchases return minus damaged stock. Everything you do and you get the cost of sales. So cost of sales, purchases return after consider cost of sales make question here. Cost of sales they are giving you as 110. Then operating expenses, okay. Operating expenses, that is 60. Operating expenses is 60. However, that doesn't include the discount. Trade discounts, do we record? Trade discounts allowed, trade discount received. None of these we record in the books of accounts. So, record then you can't recognize that as an income. Cash discount received. Cash discount received. Discount received is an income, that is rupees 5,000. Cash discount. And the discount allowed is an expense, which is 10,000. So then to the total income will be how much? It's 205,000. And total income is 205,000. Total expenditure will be, is it 180,000? Which is 108,000. This is a really good question. Very basic, fundamental question for you to have an idea about the basic stuff in the basic accounting practice, right? And what has to be the correct answer? Yes, 205 and 180,000. So then the correct answer will be the third one. Okay. These are the answers for the first 10 questions in the account 2020 A-level paper question, right? So then we'll meet up with another part of discussion to continue from question number 11 to question number 20, right? So likewise, there will be 5 videos which talks about all the questions in the 2020 A-level paper, all the questions in the 2020 A-level paper, right? Okay. See with another past paper discussion, 2020 A-level paper discussion. We have done the first 10 questions from this video, and we are about to do the balance 40 questions with another few other videos as well, right? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have understood most of the things what we said, right?